Can I say mm-hmm?
You're supposed to.
Okay, good.
It's a havrutah. So we have a so the midrash says Yom Teruah Yom Teruah. That's fine. Yom Teruah Tiyelachem, right? A Parshat says on Rosh Hashanah Yom Teruah. V'asitem ishe Hashem. So the midrash says the Rad Tachlifa says that all the korban musafs, wherever it says in the Torah, it says v'hikravtem, right? You will make a korban, and over here v'kan it says v'asitem, you will make. What is it trying to say? What is it trying to tell you when it says v'asitem? It's saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Bnei Israel, Banai, my children, I am going to make it as if you made yourselves today. Right? It says, Ba'ani ma'aleh alechem ki'ilu hayom na'asetem lefanai. You were made in front of me today. And then Midrash continues, Ki'ilu hayom barati etchem b'riyah hadasha. Right? As if I made you a new creation today. And it finishes with a pasuk in Yeshaya that says, Ki kasher hashamayim hadashim v'ha'aretz hadasha. That this pasuk is talking about the end of the when Hashem renews the shamayim v'ha'aretz, right? And he mentions that everything's going to be hadash, everything's going to be new. So there's three questions on this midrash. The first one is, what is the difference about about being made today? What ma hua to'elet shehayom na'asu or shena'asu me'atzmam, or that they were made from themselves, like the Yefet Toar says, which we didn't really understand this question so well, by the way. No, Avi? We didn't understand. You can speak. It's fine. You don't have to be worried. It's it's okay. We didn't. What is the advantage of being born today? I think. Look, I didn't look up the Yefet Torah, but I think it's saying that Davka today, better than making teshuvah any other day or doing it on any other day. Why Davka? What's the advantage of doing it on this day, Rosh Hashanah? Because it says Hayom.
I didn't understand this question.
So that's what I'm saying. I think he answers it at the end.
What's the benefit that today it was done? Or shenasu me'atzman. It's not.
What is the word? What does it mean?
Me'atzman means on their own. Right?
So that's what I'm saying. Meaning any other day. Any other day. Why is today the big deal? The Midrash says that it's today. Why today, Dafka, and why not any other day? Why not the day after?
Right.
That's the first question. The second question is why, this was a good question. It says, why did you say, I'm going to make it as if you created yourselves today, and then repeat it and say, as if I created you today? Why the double lashon, and why are you saying it why you're downgrading me? You said before, I'm going to give you $1,000. Now you just said, I'm going to give you $900. Why? You said if I make the shuvah, if I give the korban musaf on Rosh Hashanah, it's gonna be as if I made myself today.
Someone that can stand on their own is much
right. I can stand. Right. I did it myself. Versus I earned my business. I earned my business versus, but being
someone
handed
gave
to
it
me.
To me. Right.
Right. But that's the second question. And the third question is why are we bringing this pasuk in Yeshaya that's talking about the future, at the end of 6,000 years. Right. This is going to happen every year by Rosh Hashanah. So why bring this pasuk and not a different pasuk? And by the way, what we said, I think I think this is an unbelievable derashah. The questions were a little difficult, but I think it's an unbelievable derashah. He starts by saying that teshuvah is broken down into two things, right? That teshuvah is for sure mechaper an avon. A teshuvah be'emet hi mechaper. For sure, it atones for a sin, but there's still something that still has to come out. And what is what? And it's the hana'ah that you had by your sin. The hana'ah that you had is still left. So the teshuvah that you made, yes, it took away the fact that you drove on Shabbat, but it didn't take away the fact that the AC was blasting and the music was on and you felt like a melech. That part you got to still pay for, and that's done between two ways. There's two ways that happens.
That erase or nullify the hana'ah of the head.
Right. The first way is yisurin, right, and the second way is rahamim elyonim. Yisurin is punish. Is how do you? What's the right way to say yisurin? Suffering.
Yeah.
Now we say in the Gemara, it says you pull your hand in your pocket and you want to get a 5 cent. Instead of that, you pulled out a quarter. Or you wanted $1, you pulled out a 5, and you have to reach back in. That's also yisurin. It doesn't always have to be the hard stuff. It's hard. That's what it does. Second one is Elionida Hamim, and that's what we say, right? Which is Rahmanas. Have Rahmanas on me. That's what we say, and that's what we say by the vidui. right? On Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, really, yeah. Mechok berachamecha rabim. Mechok means to erase. Berachamecha rabim. Aval, with your mercy. Aval lo al yedei yisurin. But don't do it on yisurin.
Don't do it with punishment.
Now you might think that one is attributed to the other, like it says in the Gemara Berachot Yutet, that if a tzaddik makes a sin at night, don't judge him because chances are by the morning he made teshuvah. So you might assume that guy, that tzaddik, because he made teshuvah right away, is automatically going to get Rahamim Elyonim. And the hefech, the other side, you have Rasha, who's always doing bad. You might assume that he's for sure going to get the Yisurim. And we see that the world doesn't work that way. That some tzaddikim get punished right away, right? They do get Yisurim, and other Reshaim, they do bad things and nothing happens to them. So we're learning that these two ways are not contingent on who you are. You understand? It's not contingent on who you are. Because remember, we said there's two ways to wipe away the enjoyment of the sin.
Right.
One is Yisurin, suffering, and one is Rahamim Elyonim.
Right. We don't know who gets what at this point.
You don't know who gets what.
At this point, right.
Right. That's exactly right. And then we also said, right, so that's one thing we had to understand. Right? And then we also said, good. Then we brought a Gemara and Bikurim, a Yerushalmi Bikurim, that says there's three people that are appointed to Gadlut, right? They get kapara. Right. They get kapara. And we said, who are the three? Hacham, a Hatan, and a Nasi. Hacham is a rabbi. Hatan is a bride, a groom. And a Nasi is a prince. The fact that they get their Gadlut, that is kapara for their sins. Now, Zera Shimshon has a very simple question.
How does that make sense?
How does that make sense? How are you going to tell me that what you get that
because of these three? If you're one of these three people, you don't have to do teshuvah.
It doesn't right. You have to do teshuvah. If a guy becomes a prince, he doesn't have to do teshuvah. How does that make any sense? And if you want to say that no, it's with teshuvah that he's mechaperet, then what do you mean?
What's the hidush?
What's the hidush? I don't need to become a hakam or a hatan in order for my teshuvah to be accepted. So what are we saying that what the Gemara is talking about? Not the teshuvah. We know even with these three things, you still need teshuvah. But what is left to pay for? The hana'ah of the head. Right. The hana'ah of the head that you had. So the enjoyment that you had of the sin, right, still has to get paid for. And how do you get paid for that? Either Yisurin or the Hamim Elyonim. So the Gemara is saying that the person that reaches this stature will not get Yisurin at all. They will be spared, and only they will receive from the Hamim Elyonim. Good. And now we're understanding this concept. You can understand the midrash that we said that all the korban musaf is vehikravtem. Why vehikravtem? Because what is the purpose of a korban? To get closer to kedusha and to also be mechapeh for the sin. But he's explaining that it doesn't help you to pay for the hana'ah that you had for the sin.
Say again. So
vehikravtem it gives you two things: gets you closer to kedusha. And two is gets close to kedusha and mechaper for the sin, but doesn't help you for the hana'ah that you had for the sin. You still have to pay for that, and that still gets two ways: either yisurin suffering, or by the hamim. Good. So, but it's saying over here now it's saying vasitem kilu hayom asitem atzmechem lefanai. That is, if I'm making you today, right? Dehainu, what are you going to be considered like a ger? Ger shenitgayer kekatan shenolad dame. That he's going to be considered just like a ger is considered. When the person converts, when he comes out of the mikveh, he now becomes clean. He's clean. And was he clean? He's like a katan that was born. So we will be made anew. Like who? Like the ger. In terms of what? That I don't get yisurin. But if you want to say that a ger also gets yisurin for what he did, like it says in the Gemara in Yevamot, right? That the yisurin that he does get is for what he did do on the Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach that he was oved before he was mitkayer. Before he converted, every goy has seven laws they have to follow. You know the seven, by the way?
Yeah.
You have to know God is God.
Right. Shfichut
Damim. Arayot. I don't think Arayot is one.
Yeah.
Arayot. Dinim is always the hard one. That's why I remember that one. Dinim. Right?
Right. And then...
Out of steel, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know, the other two. There's seven. But Dinim is always the hard one. I always remember to remember that. I know.
Right.
Look up. We can look it up after.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
We can look it up. So anyway, so the goy, the ger still has to pay for those 7 mitzvot. It's okay. Sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach. They still have to look that up. They still have to pay for that. So now that's why the Midrash adds.
What does it mean? Right.
The question was, the third question we asked, why are you giving us the pasuk that's talking about
the future.
Latil Labo?
Right.
So because the Midrash this is unbelievable. The Midrash is hinting that you become a Biriyah Hadasha. Remember we said, you're going to be you, and the second part of the Midrash says that I'm going to create myself. I'm going to create you. What does it mean, create you? Just like Latil Labo, you're going to get a Neshama Hadasha. Like it says in Yehezkel, that I'm going to take away your live Evin. Every Jew had right now, right? We had, by the way, and it's Kashur to Yud Zayin Tammuz. Because when we got to the Luchot Rishonim on Vav Sivan, our hearts became Lev Basar. Lev Basar. When he comes down Yud Zayin Tammuz 40 days later, right? He sees what happened, what we're doing with the Egel. He takes the Luchot and he breaks the Egel. Okay? He breaks the Egel. And now our hearts get turned back to live Ivin. So when Mashiach comes, we're going to get back that gift of a live basar, and there's not going to have any forgetfulness, and there's not going to be any death. The Malach HaMavet can be sholet on a person that has live basar. All these things that are very good. So when you do this, which means what? You're not going to. What are we trying to hint? That you're not going to get any yisurin. Give the Korban Musaf on Rosh Hashanah. You're going to be like a new person, just like it's going to be by Atid Lavo. Mm-hmm. And if you think for a second that you're going to, and by the way, and why Dafka this day? That was the question. Why on Rosh Hashanah, the day before, the day after? Because what it says in Tikkunei HaZohar, that the day itself has such kedusha, it has the ability to do that. Mm-hmm. That bishbil kevod hayom ukdushat hayom. That is gorem, that you're able to get this extra stuff. That tosevet tahora ukdusha baneshama mehamat haregel, because of the day. And the kiloman, like what we said about the gerim, that you might have to pay for, what you did, the Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach, that you didn't do them. It's not true, because it's going to hold like the Sevara of the Rabbi Yossi, that says that they're not, the Rabbi Yossi says that the gerim don't have to pay for anything that they did before. Why? Because they have a new goof and they have a new nefesh. So just like you on Rosh Hashanah, when you give the Korban Musaf, you're getting your Lev Hadash, which is going to be your goof Hadash from the Atid Labo. Right? And why? Because of the day itself, Rosh Hashanah itself, and you will be forgiven for the hana'ah of the head only with rahamim elyunim and not through yisurin, like you normally would be getting if you brought a korban hatah. Baruch Adonai L'olam, amen v'amen.